Hello, students. Today, our topic is Money Madness. Money Madness by D.H. Lawrence. D.H. Lawrence, that means David Howard Lawrence, he was born on 11th of September 1885. So, he was an English novelist, he was a poet, he was a playwright, essayist, literary critic, a painter, that means he was a versatile author, right? And he was a versatile personality. His collected works represent an extended reflection upon the dehumanizing effects on modernity and industrialization. Dehumanizing effects on modernity and industrialization. That means, first of all, dehumanizing, what I mean to say, that is, when we deprive the people of their human qualities. That means when a brutal management method creates extreme fear in the common people's mind, that is called dehumanizing. And what creates this extreme fear? See, there is a switch, that means in the way of industrialization, the people who opted for agriculture, they switched themselves for industrialization. The people's mind that converted for capitalism, that means when the terminology comes for capitalism or for industrialization, then obviously the measuring a person, the parameter is obviously a money. Right, that was money was the paradigm. Money was the parameter to count a person. Okay, so the measurement of a person was entirely money. So a person who has the money, he will be the authority. He will hold the authority of the society, and a person who doesn't have the money, he will be exploited by a rich person. That was the total paradigm of the society, right? And that was a dehumanizing effect of modern culture and the effect of industrialization. Correct? We will discuss further on this condition. Okay. Now, about his personal life, he was a fourth child of Arthur Lawrence, a miner. He spent his formative years in the coal mining town of Eastwood, Nottinghamshire. His working class background and the tension between his parents provided the raw material for his works. What I mean to say, that is, he was very close to his mother, and he was the one of the most intelligent student ever, but that was not paid a heed by his mother, neither of the parent, because there was always a tension between the father and his mother, right? His mother had never been happy with the money that his father used to earn. I strongly believe that you are matured enough to understand this condition. Okay, and finally, what a child ever wants, that a nice, cozy parlor, a family, and that was not provided to this kid, intellectual kid, D.H. Lawrence. His parents got separated, and that creates this dehumanizing effect on D.H. Lawrence. Okay, and he told that this separation and this tension between his parents provided the raw material ever for his works. Okay. Although best known for his novels, Lawrence wrote almost 800 poems, most of them relatively short. He felt all poems have to be personal sentiments, and that a sense of spontaneity was vital for any work. Right? So, if we consider his writing, mainly we can get focused on Lady Chatterley's lover, sons and lover, woman in love, all these that means after the separation of his parents, he got involved in some, at the age of 16 onwards, he got involved in some illicit relationship. That means uh, considering human conditions, he started, ignoring all the realities of human relationship, disrespecting the human relationship. So he intentionally got involved in many illicit relationship, which after maturity he realized, kind of repentance you can say, he started noting down in his books. Okay, there was no social acceptance from the government side even in that time. So Lady Chatterley's Lover were, the government banned this book for many years. Okay, though it was a mark of a good literature. Fine. Okay. So now the next is, in the face of formidable initial disadvantage and lifelong delicacy, poverty that lasted for most of his life, and hostility from the powers of that time, he did nothing that he really didn't want to. So let us go for the the meaning. Formidable means that triggers fear, that creates fear and respect. That means the opponent, when you find the opponent very impressively large and it is very powerful, and when the opponent is powerful, it easily triggers a fear and forcibly it creates the respect in the mind of others, right? So he always faced such opponent because he never had that much money. That means he always had a powerful, rich opponent, correct? Then initial disadvantage, that was not only because his health even was the disadvantage. Okay, lifelong delicacy, right, and poverty that lasted for most of his life, and hostility from the powers of that time. Hostility, that is unfriendly behavior. This strong and brutal power, they become hostile, they went against him. Okay, so it was a big issue for him, and he couldn't manage well though, but he never did throughout his life such things which was he was being asked or he was being forced to do by this huge opponent, right? He did whatever he found it is good for him, right? Hence he continues to find an overwhelming audience. He wrote around 3 dozen of books, which even the worst page, Dances with Life. Dances with Life, it's a nice one. That means this concept, in many religion, they like to use the phrase dances with life. Dances with life means, see students, we cannot leave the past in the past, we cannot live in the future, but it's what I say, that is we cannot leave the past, but we cannot stop ourselves dreaming of the future. That means it is a kind of past we are living, a kind of future we are living, but thoroughly we are present, we are living in the present, correct? So this is a kind of irony of life, you can say, that past we never forget, future we never can step while we are in the present, but we cannot ignore neither the past nor the future. So this is the dances with the life. Every pulse of it, we are having the past and the future, but living in the present, right? So every religion believes in this concept. So we can find every little verse of his writing carries the concept of this dance of life. Okay, while the best are admitted by all to be unsurpassed. without any vices, with most human virtues. I think all of you know about this concept, or all of you are aware of these vices and virtues. Vices means the acts which are immoral acts, right? That means without any vices. Vices, there is no correct parameter of vices, right? Something that we create in our mind, that if you consider a human being, that how they conduct the vices, you will find this, those are the vices. Vices means all the human being, they need to compromise with the situation, my dear, right? And how they go with the enactment as per the consequences, that creates the concept of vices, right? And most of human virtues, virtues means the behavior which shows the moral standard. That means virtues are very standard behaviors of enactment, dear students. These virtues, once you adopted, they never get changes with the pace of time. That means friendliness, that means worth doing, that means truthfulness. Once you once you get adopted with this situation, you never ever, get rid of this. This will mingle with the every inch of your practices, right? Got it? So that means it is a practice of yours, that is called virtues. It never ever change with the change of the consequences. That is called virtues. Okay, so with most human virtues, all human being, we expect with them some virtues. That means all of a sudden we cannot shut down a man or shut down anybody, right? So that is a virtue, because we have those virtues. Okay, he was scrupulously honest. Yes, he has those virtues and devoid of those vices. So he was scrupulously honest. If we consider on the parameter of those virtues, he was honest. Scrupulously, I don't know whether you know or not, that means thoroughly, extremely. He was honest and managed to keep himself free from the shackles of civilization and cant of literally cliques. Literally cliques. Cliques is a word, perhaps it is very new to you. Cliques means a small, close knit group of people. That means they don't allow other people to close to them, right? So these people are, closely knitted people, and these people are termed as literally cliques, who are very much comfortable with the concept of literature. So literary cliques, right? So they are the literary cliques, and he was one among. E.M. Forster, Edward Morgan Forster, in his obituary notice, described him as the greatest imaginative novelist of our generation. He is valued by many as a visionary thinker and significant representative of modernism in English literature. Is a stinging exposition of the modern consumerist world. Now, consumerism and industrialization, that a little knowledge we need to earn here. D.H. Lawrence's poem Money Madness, which was written in 1920s, that we can consider it as a criticism on consumerism and materialism culture, that is materialistic culture, okay, of those time. Now, what exactly consumerism refers to? Consumerism it's a tendency of people living in a capitalist economy. Capitalist economy is to engage ourselves in a lifestyle of excessive materialism. Excessive materialism means what is more what is that means more than sufficient to lead a normal life, that revolves around, wasteful, and that is very conspicuous for consumption of more. And when we go for consumption of more, see, in a society, if a section goes for more consumption of money, then that particular section is obviously exploiting another section of people, because the amount of money allotted for a certain society, that is fixed. So when some people, they are utilizing the money more, they are depriving the other people from their regular rights, right? This is very important concept you need to understand, right? So it is an idea that a person's well-being and happiness depends fundamentally obtaining goods. That means if you have some material possession, then you have respect in the society, then you will be qualified in the in the parameter of a rich man, right? So in this way, the paradigm of the society has started to justify the human being. Okay, so this is called consumerism based on money. Fine. Consumerism is widely understood to contribute to the destruction of traditional value, where and it creates a very negative psychological effect, obviously. And when there is a concept of consumerism, obviously we cannot neglect the concept of industrialization. Industrialization, I told you, it's a process when we are switching from primary agriculture to one of the best, to manufacturing of goods, right? That means from agriculture to the field of industrialization. Not only that, but also individual manual labor is replaced by mass production. Okay, so that is the industrialization is the outgrowth of consumerism, right? You need to understand the simple concept of consumerism, capitalism, and industrialization, because this is the base of the poem Money Madness. That means accumulation of money, right? Accumulation of unnecessary money. Okay, so this is the thing, that means consumption of more money. Okay, when greed takes over the need, when we start consumption of money more than we need, right? So back to the poem. Here what the poet writes, that money is our madness, our worst collective madness. Of course, if the multitude is mad, yes, that means each and every person, we are struggling for money, right? That means here we people of today are so involved in the business of money that they are willing to compromise with their morals, with their sanity, with their love, with their relationship. So greed takes over the need, and the form of insanity is ruining the society. The whole world is gradually becoming money mad, because the entire world is a total or the sum of individual person. That means a society, how, if you consider the structure of a society, it is made up of we human being, right? So each and every human being is giving every day their contribution of insanity. their madness for money, right? So who in turn, that means individual person who in turn insanely money oriented, who are money oriented, and each individual is contributing his or her share of insanity for money each moment every day, making the whole world a maze of lust for money. So the entire multitude is mad for money. The individual, right? That means the individual carries his own grain of insanity around with him. I expect all of you are sitting with your book, otherwise, it will be tough for you to understand. The individual carries his own grain of insanity around with him, and uh, I doubt if any man living hands out a pound note without a pang, right? That means, what does it mean? See, he says that people, he repents rather to say that people are scared to lose money. People are scared to lose money. They really struggle to spend money charitably. That means money is so close to their heart that no one voluntarily offers money to anyone. People struggle hard to spend money charitably. Even if it is only £1, we feel devastated to contribute voluntarily. And when the sum is on a little higher end, say it is £10, it enhances people's anxiety more and more. A man starts shaking, you can see here, and a real tremor, right? It creates anxiety. The man starts agitating, right? Shaking, because the amount is more. It is like £10. Okay, so it enhances the person's anxiety. So he starts shaking, he starts trembling with a faint note of fear, because the amount is more. The thought of losing money is so frustrating, and it devastates a person completely, right? So we quell, money makes us quell. So here it is noticeable, student, you can see that real tremor. The poet to focus on and to emphasize on the concept that how our money makes us feel, right? That is, when we offer voluntarily the money, how does it feel? So it is tremor, the first line, and to emphasis on the same concept, the poet writes quell, right? So tremor, quell, it gives the same meaning. It's the shaking, right? So now a real tremor, and if he hands out a £10 note, we quell. Money makes us quell. It has got us down. We grovel before it's in a strange terror. So now it is the best concept. The poet says that money has gained beyond its capacity of being mode of transaction. So money, from where money has started, its form was like it was a mode of transaction in the beginning, right? In the beginning of the civilization. But now it has taken the arbitrary power. That means it has the controlling power. It make us grovel. Grovel, that means it make us to prostrate and worship. It has a strange power. Grovel means it has a total control. It has made us slave, right? We have become slave to money. Got it? Gradually it start controlling our thoughts, influencing our capacities, and thus restricting our sphere of actions. Okay, so it restricts our thoughts, it restricts our action. Okay, So, no wonder, for money has a fearful, cruel power among men. So, it is a nice line. The poet digs deep to the problem of today's money oriented world that has created, that means money has created this society. Okay. Whether money has triggered in the mind of people this thought, that he says the society sanctions the justifiable power to those people who have money, right? The power belongs to that particular section who are rich, right? So, this is the cruel power. They have got the entire power to control, to exploit the other section who are not so rich, rather, who are poor. But it is not money we are terrified of. This is very meaningful, you will have to understand. But it is not money that triggers the trouble. Here we need the proper understanding of the concept, that it is the madly love of human for money. That means we need not to be scared of money, but we need to be scared of money mad people. The people who are madly in love with money. Got it? For many, for that means those human beings who are in the love of money, and for money that shoots up the trouble and demonstrate complete inhalation. Got it? That means that thought that triggers complete inhalation in the mind of a person. How? You can see that, but no money we are terrified of. It is the collective money madness of mankind. For mankind says with one voice, how much is he worth? Has he no money? Then let him eat dirt and go cold. What does it mean? Let him eat dirt. It has such a meaning underneath. Go cold. Let him eat dirt. Eating dirt means it is the insult, it is the humiliation, right? It's not like that, that the rich person or the person who has money won't give a piece of bread. Definitely the poor person will get a piece of bread to be alive, right? But how? With humiliation, with insult. So, the consumption of money, the consumption of wealth overpowers the man. On the other hand, uh, the individual who doesn't have enough, he considered fit to eat dirt and die. He is fit to eat, to insult and die. People may give some bread to the man without money so that he doesn't die, but the penniless individual lives a life of worse than death. They are the living corpse without money. A man can neither have decent food, nor fire, nor shelter. He is forced to lose his dignity and stoop low in front of money. So, even in our day to day life, we see how money plays a major role to assess, our place in a society. And here we can see that if they will give me a little bread so I do not die, and they will make me eat dirt for it. So here, if we consider all this line, that repeatedly the poet mentions eat dirt, that means forcibly a person will be eating dirt, that means the society and the rich section will force a penniless man to eat dirt, and then I shall have to eat dirt and I shall have to eat dirt. See, in the single line, twice right? He mentions to emphasize the same concept, eat dirt if I have no money, right? And it is that I am afraid of. So, what a man is afraid of? A man is not afraid of being hungry, a man is being afraid of not having money, and that fear become a delirium is illusion. It gradually it becomes an illusion. See, students, the hunger is the basic instinct of the man, right? So without food we cannot live more than a day. How long we can survive without food, without water? Say 1 day or two. Then we will have to beg for food, not for us, for the children even. We need to beg, right, for food. Then, while we are being forced for our basic instinct to beg for food, then the people are the rich people, they get the opportunity to insult, right? So that is the cause that a penniless man is being afraid of, right? The fear, that means it triggers a fear of being getting insulted, okay, to get insulted, and that fear can become a delirium, right? It is a fear of money mad fellow men, that a money mad fellow man that has been deeply rooted in the infrastructure of our society, right? That rich people, they can anytime any day they have the right to insult a penniless man. So they will insult, and that insult will bring the death, will cause the death of a poor person. Okay, this brings the discomfort to a poor man. Okay. So what is his practical demand? He says the poet's demand is that bread should be free, shelter should be free. We should live in a capacity of a society where bread should be free, that means food should be free, shelter should be free, that means we should get, all the people should get the minimum possibility of a shelter, and the fire, that means the minimum comfort to live, the fire, the minimum support to live. Then to all and anybody, right? That means all of us, we should have this benefit. That means no one should have this possibility to get insulted by others. No one should be given, that means that unfortunately the society does this, that means the people look down upon or scornful of homeless, so to those people who don't have the material position, this concept will be removed forever. Okay, that means it is a kind of D.H. Lawrence, he has done a criticism of capitalism, expounded, right? So expounded by Marx, we can say. Okay, so he expects and he demands that this bread, shelter and fire, these three should be free for anybody, all and all over the world. This condition should prevail, right? And then the last three, that means the last stanza, he brings the concept that is really what I say, that should be implemented in a realistic world of today. We must regain our sanity about money before we start killing one another about it. It's one thing or the other. Really, that means already we have started losing our sanity. That means we have become insane over the money, when it is the topic of money, when it is about money, we are mad. We have lost our sanity. We are insane, right? So, it was 1920s when this poem was written by the poet. He was very thoughtful, I must say, that he has stated that we should give our practical thought over the money, that one day is, in the forthcoming days, one day is, or one day will be there when either money will survive or human being, if we really don't get over the thought of sanity. Okay. So here, student, if we recapitulate the entire concept, the entire poem, it's like this, that Money Madness, which is written by the famous poet D.H. Lawrence in 1920, is a poem which is just appropriate for today's world. In Asian, African, and Latin American countries, where over 500 million people and children die of hunger, according to Lawrence, no one should beg for food to eat, and no one should obsess for money, and no one should get insane for money. We must work hard to stop such situation before there is a war over money. The poet is truly afraid because he thinks if men become so consumed by money, and if they forget everything else in the world, and if they start denying relation even, the world will destroy. Financial issues are always stressful, that we cannot deny. But often society judges a man by his wealth. If a man is poor, they say, let him eat dirt and go cold. Lawrence emphasizes that the world has become preoccupied by the thought of money. It is madness to pay such importance to money, which can be disappeared in a blink of an eye. People do not like to share money. The consumption of wealth overpowers man. The narrator states that the rich mankind says, how much he worth? Has he no money? Then let him eat dirt and go cold. So at this juncture, the narrator says that if he has no money, mankind will give him bread, so he will get an opportunity to survive, but he will forced to eat dirt. That means the judging a man in the parameter of money is insane. Concluding his lines, Lawrence vows that people should not have to beg for food, neither for shelter nor for fire. Mankind must regain his sanity concerning the financial aspects of life before they start killing each other over it.